What's going on, my Century Units? It's the Centuryman here, so back again with another classic WrestleMania pay-per-view review. I'm going to review one more classic WrestleMania of the month. So today I'm reviewing WrestleMania 30. So this show was at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Right now it's called the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana on the 6th of April 2014. The attendance of the show, it's between 60,000 to 65,000. WrestleMania 30 drew about 684,000 pay-per-view buys. This is the low-bought WrestleMania since WrestleMania 19 back in 2003. Reason why this WrestleMania got like it's not a real low buy rate. I think WrestleMania 13 got a real low buy rate, but the reason why they got like an okay buy rate because this is the first WrestleMania to air on the WWE Network. It was new at the time. They launched the network in February of that year. It was kind of like it was kind of like, I can't call it a game changer, but it's kind of like a new concept, to air not just the current WWE pay-per-views, but like showing the old classic shows, not just like in the WWE, but in WCW and ECW. But back then, like, you never heard of streaming service back then. Yeah, Netflix was around, but it was kind of still new. Compare right now. Right now you got Netflix, you got Hulu, you got Disney Plus, you got Amazon Prime, you got Paramount Plus, TNA Plus, what's it called? I forgot. I can't remember. It was new back then, It was, like compare like back in the 2010s. It was new back then, doing a streaming service, But I think it was good to see the day doing the I think it's the first wrestling company to do a streaming service, and then years later TNA did Global Force Network, and then Impact Plus, and right now it's called TNA Plus. It was new at the time, and some people do not like some people just do not like the networks. It's debatable. I think it's kind of a success. Anyway, so the context for WrestleMania 30 are Michael Cole, Jerry the King Lawler, and John Bradshaw Layfield, and aka JBL for short. This WrestleMania, this month marks the 10-year anniversary of this WrestleMania. This is known as the Daniel Bryan WrestleMania because he, spoiler alert, overcome the odds. And also you had the legendary Undertaker's undefeated streak came to an end. And also this is the first WrestleMania in the state of Louisiana. The next time they do a WrestleMania not just in Louisiana, in New Orleans, will be WrestleMania 34, 4 years later in 2018. That's known for Daniel Bryan's comeback tour, his first match in, you could say, 3.5 years. And also, I call it known as the Ronda Rousey WrestleMania because of Ronda Rousey's first match in the company. But people more talk about this WrestleMania to the other New Orleans WrestleMania back 4 years later in 2018. So anyway, and by the way, and also this is the 30th WrestleMania, the 30th annual, not the 30th year, because WrestleMania started in 1985. So anyway, it's very shocked why they have to do this in in Louisiana instead of MSG, but it's just what it is. But they're just doing WrestleManias in football stadiums compared to back in the 80s and 90s and the 2000s in basketball arenas. Anyway, so before I get to the actual matches on the show, the biggest story going into 2014 is CM Punk's walkout. CM Punk's swan song of his first run in the company. He kind of walked out because he was in the 2014 Royal Rumble match. He got attacked by Kane, got chokeslammed him. That was the end of Punk's run in the company for not just for 7 years, not just in WWE, but in wrestling until his run in AEW. Punk walking out of the company kind of like changed the card for WrestleMania 30. I'll get to more in detail later on. But that was a big story in professional wrestling at the time. Is CM Punk leaving the company? It's just like wow. People compare it to Austin doing the walkout in 2002. Both of them like tuck their balls and go home. Yeah, it's just a shame. I thought Punk could come back to, it was supposed to face Kane at the Elimination Chamber, but unfortunately, he walked out. Won't see Punk again for 7 years in wrestling. He came back, 5 years later when WWE moved to Fox, did the Fox show, but it's funny, he came back late last year in our current timeline at Survivor Series 2023. He's in the middle of this program with Drew McIntyre. But back then, you thought this was the end of Punk in professional wrestling. He had a run in MMA, in the UFC. He had a brief run in I think he did a horror film. He had a bit in films, But yeah, it was the biggest story. It was the biggest story at the time. Punk walking out of the company. The second story going into this is Batista's return. He came back. I think the beginning. The first Raw? I think it was late 2013, and I think it was the final Raw of 2013 or the first Raw of 2014. He came back and then he went on to win that year's Royal Rumble match in the expense of Daniel Bryan. I'll get to more of the original match card for WrestleMania 30 a little bit later. So anyway, before we get to the matches in the card, there was one segment I want to talk about. It's the opener. You had Hulk Hogan's return to the company. We haven't seen Hulk Hogan for about 8 years because I think the last match he had was, it was against Randy Orton, SummerSlam 2006, and originally was supposed to wrestle at WrestleMania 23 the following year at Ford Fields, but he kind of left the company due to pay disputes, because at the time he was in the middle of his reality TV career, because he did his reality TV show Hogan's Knows Best, with his wife, was it Helen and Brooke and Nick, and then he was like kind of dabble in reality TV, but trying to compete with the Osbournes, by the way. He did Hogan's Celebrity Wrestling, and then he had a run in TNA. That's another story for another time. But seeing Hogan back on WWE program was a big deal because this is the 30th WrestleMania. He played a massive part of the success of WrestleMania in the 80s, going into the early 90s. So he kind of he was a bit rusty going into this, he kind of calling the Superdome the Silver Dome, bringing up, because it's confusing the Superdome in New Orleans to the Silver Dome in Michigan, bring it up when he slammed Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3. He called it the WWE Network, the WWF Network, and then you got Stone Cold Steve Austin appeared, the fans did the what chants, He keeps saying, he brings up how many times Hogan wrestled at WrestleMania. He said 10, but Hogan didn't wrestle at WrestleMania 10. He didn't bring up WrestleMania, his match at WrestleMania 18 and 19. But and also we got the return of The Rock. We haven't seen The Rock on WWE program for one whole year because he was self-proclaimed injured his groin after his match against John Cena at the previous year's WrestleMania. But in reality, he was filming Hercules. Seeing Rock at WrestleMania since Mania 29 the previous year, and also kind of bringing up, like you said, without it brings up the words hustle, loyalty, respect. That's John Cena's logo. The fans booed, referring to without it won't be a John Cena with a Hogan, and it brings up Daniel Bryan versus the Authority. It won't be that without Austin versus McMahon, and he's saying it won't be a baby boom without The Rock. You could tell Rock, Austin, Hogan kind of putting over the history of WrestleMania. They did a catchphrase, drink the beer, and that was it. It's good to see 3 of the icons of WrestleMania history, and also three of the icons of the two boom periods of the company, in the 80s and the 90s. It was a good way, I think it kind of served the purpose, man. And then there was one segment later on the show. You got, the opponents for the first WrestleMania main event, Hogan and Mr. T, Piper and Paul Orndorff, it was a funny segment, they talk about, Orndorff is talk about he can't obsess of WrestleMania 1, the main event, how he lost the first main event, Pat Patterson came out and says, hey, it's 30 years ago, let it go, and then you're seeing, Orndorff, shaking hands with Hogan, and Piper, shaking hands with Mr. T. If you're not familiar, let me explain. Mr. T and Roddy Piper really hate each other in real life. Going into their matches at Mania 1 and 2 because it was a rivalry spanned decades because Piper really don't trust Mr. T because he's kind of like the outsider. I think it's like trying to expose the business. I don't want to get more in detail of that. So seeing, they had the wrestler at the first WrestleMania in '85. They had the boxing match in Mania 2 the following year, and never again. The rivalry spanned about decades, and then this show they kind of like patch things up. It was a good way to end their rivalry, because it's really sad. The following year Roddy Piper passed away. It's a shame. Meiji in Oakland was on that segment. Seeing it's really sad because three of them in this segment were no longer with us. That's Piper, Meiji, and Paul Orndorff. But that was a heartful feeling. Seeing Piper and Mr. T just buried that real life rivalry they expanded since the 80s. So that was the segment. I forgot. I'm trying to talk about it. Sometimes I don't talk about segments in pay-per-views because sometimes it doesn't work because it's more come across a segment you see on weekly TV. But that was more because it kind of serve a purpose or kind of serve a purpose. So anyway, let's do a quick result in the dark match. I'm trying to find it on YouTube. It was a Fatal 4-Way elimination tag team match for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Usos defend the belt against Los Matadores. That's Diego and Fernando. That's Primo and Epico with El Torito. The Real Americans, Cesaro and Jack Swagger. That's currently Claudio Castagnoli and Jake Hager in AEW with Seb Coulter in their corner. And Ryback, that is Curtis Axel and Ryback, without minus Paul Heyman. I'm trying to find it, and it's like, they're kind of breaking down the card, but, it's funny, I think it's a bit too late to do, a review of this pre-show match, it's just it's 60 minutes long, it's very, I think they should have put this on the main show, why it's in the pre-show, I don't mind it on a B-rated show, that's kind of fine, but I wish that, actually, scratch that, I wish they just do, pre-show should be there to break down the card, instead of, analyze the card, instead of doing, a pre-show match, or add a match on YouTube, it felt like it's belong on I feel like it's belong onto the main show, it's a shame. I heard, that was the end of Swagger's run. That was the end of Swagger's, I tried to find it, it wasn't there. Yeah, it wasn't there. I fast forward, it wasn't, it's very, weird why it's not on the pre-show. But anyway, quick results, the Usos, won, or retained the WWE Tag Team titles, and that was the end of the Real Americans. I'll get to more of that later on. So let's move on to the opener. So the opener of WrestleMania 30, the winner will be added into the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match in the main event later on the night. So Daniel Bryan taking on Triple H with Stephanie McMahon in the corner. It started like the previous year at SummerSlam. Daniel Bryan defeat John Cena for the WWE Championship. with Triple H as the special guest referee. And then on that same main event, Triple H turned on Bryan, pedigree him, Orton cash his Money in the Bank briefcase, beats Daniel Bryan for the championship, thrusting Triple H and Randy Orton to turn heel to form the Authority. Bryan went on to regain the WWE title the following month at Night of Champions, but unfortunately he got stripped of the belt because of the controversial ending to that match at Night of Champions. So Orton and Bryan fought at Battleground and Hell in a Cell. He had Shawn Michaels, causing Bryan the championship, And then, he feuded with the Wyatts, in late 2013. He was joining the Wyatt family in the start of the year. And then, fast forward to the Royal Rumble, things changed, because of CM Punk's walking out of the company. So, the original plans for WrestleMania 30 for the original matches, it was supposed to be Randy Orton versus Batista for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. It was supposed to be Triple H versus CM Punk. On paper, sounds good because Punk never got his win back, because Triple H beat CM Punk at Night of Champions in 2011. And according to Daniel Bryan's book, I haven't read it, he was supposed to face Sheamus at WrestleMania 30, but like I said, CM Punk left the company, did the walkout. They changed plans, I don't want to get into it. I'll get them more into it. We'll get to the main event. So for months now, you had Triple H, Stephanie, and the Authority kind of besmirched, using the besmirch or belittle Daniel Bryan. You can tell it's worked, they're not really publicly burying Daniel Bryan because you can tell they seen into Daniel Bryan. But in kayfabe, they kind of like shooting down Daniel Bryan because he was a B+ player. They kind of written on him because of his height, of his size. So you had this on Raw, a few weeks before the show. It was called Occupy Raw. You had Daniel Bryan come out with fans. Most of them are plants, wearing Daniel Bryan t-shirts, doing the yes chants, Bryan challenged Triple H to a match of WrestleMania. And also, he, if he wins, he kind of be added into the main event of Mania 30. They kind of changed the stipulation that, if Triple H or Bryan wins this match, will be added into the main event of WrestleMania 30. And also the 2 weeks prior to this, like on the second to last Raw before WrestleMania 30, Triple H attacked Daniel Bryan, injured his shoulder, Bryan got his heat back on the go home Raw. So it's kind of like building into this, Triple H versus Bryan. It's basically big versus small. And also I don't talk about hype packages when I talk about pay-per-view reviews in wrestling. I'm a monster, I'm turning into a monster. What's the band called? Imagination Dragons, it's called. I like it. It had a splicing footage of Bryan, or Bryan is also Daniel Bryan, or his real name is Bryan Danielson, but training, because he started out training in Shawn Michaels Wrestling Academy. Then he was in the first season of NXT. And then, winning the World Heavyweight Championship in 2012, started the yes chant. Funny, they never splice. He kind of spliced in the Daniel Bryan documentary months later of his run in ROH. But it's kind of good, I don't want to explain this. You can find it on YouTube. Type in "Monster Daniel Bryan." You find the video package. It's really good. The theme music was good. Also, Triple H's theme entrance for WrestleMania 30 was fucking good. He came out wearing the skull crown on the throne. It's funny that, 5 years later, Cody ended up smashing it at the first AEW pay-per-view. And also you had, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, and Alexa Bliss as the Skull Queen, the Skull King's mistress, That's really good. Triple H's entrances at WrestleMania was really good. Doing this skull thing. He started doing this these type of over the top theme entrances at WrestleMania 22. As his, I think it's referencing Conan the Barbarian. Leading up to his match against John Cena, Mania 22 and beyond. You know, it had the da 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 da. I can't remember over dramatic theme. That is fucking good, man. So this match, it's good. This match was really good, man. Between Bryan and Triple H, man. It's like, it's speed versus strength. You know, Bryan's about the speed and agility. Triple H about the strength. You know, Triple H took a sick tornado DDT by Bryan. Bryan did like a move off the top rope, hit Triple H with the tornado DDT onto the concrete floor. You know, that was fucking hardcore. Yeah, and he did it like some kind of, I think it was a springboard plancha off the top ropes. That was minutes later. You know, yeah, Triple H working on the injured arm of Daniel Bryan. He kind of put Bryan on the crossface. You know, it makes sense because if you don't know, if you let me remind you, because they'll never bring this up. You know, because you got Triple H got tapped out by Benoit's crippled crossface at Mania 20 10 years earlier. You know, and then 10 years on, he's playing the crippled crossface. You know, it's referencing when he tapped out by Chris Benoit. Anyway, so he tried to lock in the crossface. Bryan reached the ropes. Bryan did the I think he did the yes thing. I think he did the yes kicks on Triple H. I can't remember, man. It's a lot of moving parts, man. He did like a dive in. Triple H did like a tiger suplex. That was really good, you know. In one more match, I think he did he was going for the pedigree. Bryan countered into a bridge suplex. That's really good, you know. It's really good. I think he was Bryan did the multiple diving missile drop kicks, or not missile drop kicks, corner drop kicks. You know, Triple H counted into a clothesline. That was good. You know, I don't think Stephanie interfered. But kind of being the cheerleader of her husband, you go, yeah, woo. Anyway, so trying to keep it short and simple, Bryan kicked out of the pedigree. In the end, Bryan hit the running knee for the win. So Bryan's now in the main event. It'll turn into a triple threat match. In the end, you had Stephanie, slapping Bryan. Triple H attacked Bryan's injured arm. And it's kind of play out to where we get to the main event. So, this was a really good main event. I think this is Triple H's best WrestleMania match, period. He had some good matches over the years, he had some rough matches in his career, like Batista at Mania 21, Orton at Mania 25. I think he had Sheamus' match was good. Undertaker's matches for Triple H was fun. They were decent. I think Brock's match at Mania 29 was good, but he's worse. I think later on he had matches. I think he had rough matches against Reigns at 32, Rollins at 33. He had a fun match, a tag team match at Mania 34. Him and Stephanie taking on Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle. His matches are mixed bag, but this is number one. I think it's the best opener since Bran Owen. 20 years earlier, But, and by the way, this is Triple H's one and only time he opens a WrestleMania. It's a very, very shocking moment, because you always go somewhere in the card, low in the card, the middle of the show, or main event at WrestleMania, but this is the first time he actually opens of a WrestleMania. So, it was a really good opener. Anyway, so the next match, this is a 6-man tag team match. The Shield taking on the New Age Outlaws and Kane. So the Shield was part of the Authority for a bit, and then they had this brief moment there, teasing of a breakup between all three members of the Shield, and then also they turned babyface, saved Jerry Lawler. Now we set up this match on the show. Kane, man, the corporate Kane character, I think it killed Kane character completely dead. The credibility, it killed it dead. It's odd of corporate Kane, coming out wearing the trousers. It'd be more believable he just wears the suit, the shirt and tie. But it's kind of weird looking of Kane. Ever since he the second unmask, it's kind of weird. He kind of grew his hair. It's just it's funny, like put it in the future that years later he's going to become the mayor of Knoxville. But it's weird for Kane's look, in that time period. So this was the New Age Outlaws' first WrestleMania, since Mania 14. They had matches of 15, and 15. I think because Gunn got injured at 16. I'm talking about as a tag team, WrestleMania 14. They had that whole change around booking switch at Mania 15. For the IC hardcore titles, and then 16 were not on the card. But it's their first WrestleMania for 16 years. Trying to keep it short and simple. Squash match, it's just a squash match, it was a good squash match trying to get my words out. A good squash match to showcase the Shield, the Shield hit the triple power bomb onto both the Outlaws for the win. I think this is the last WrestleMania match for Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, because I think it's knowing that it could be the last WrestleMania, because in their 50s at the time, and shockingly, Billy Gunn's 60 right now, because I think it's the last match together as a tag team, because Billy Gunn ended up wrestling years later in AEW, whether it's teaming up with his sons, the Gunn Club, or part of the Acclaim, but this was the last WrestleMania match for the Shield as a trio, because they end up having a rivalry with the Reform Evolution at Extreme Rules and Payback. They had the first breakup, and then reunite years later, and then break up again, and then broke up again when Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley left AEW. It got me thinking, what if Jon Moxley didn't, or Dean Ambrose, never kind of gun it out in WWE, didn't went to AEW, because he's doing right well in AEW, becoming a multi-time world champion. He's now won the IWGP World Championship. It got me thinking, what if he didn't went to AEW? Why if he stayed around in WWE, pull up with a lot of crap until he find the light on the other side of the outside of the tunnel, when Vince McMahon's no longer with the company, without any power, why if he stayed in the company, wait until the light at the end of the tunnel, until Vince is no longer with the company, But it's funny right now with Reigns and Rollins, they end up doing good after Vince no longer with the company. What they're doing right now in their careers, 10 years later. What if if he's stay in WWE, and how he's gonna fit in today's WWE if he didn't went to AEW. But it's just what is, but because it's just what it is, man. They kind of fucked him over, and then now he's going to the company. They kind of treat him properly. So anyway, let's move on to the first of 10, 11, whatever it is. We got the first ever Andre the Giant Battle Royal. So the competitors in this Andre the Giant Battle Royal, we got Yoshi Tatsu, Brad Maddox, Brodus Clay, The Great Khali, Zack Ryder, Darren Young. Recently broke up with Titus O'Neil. That was months prior. He had Titus O'Neil also in this match. Members of 3MB, future WWE champions of Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre. Santino Marella, The Miz, Xavier Woods, Damian Sandow, Justin Gabriel, David Otunga, Big E Langston or Big E, Fandango, R-Truth, Sin Cara, Tyson Kidd, Goldust, and Cody Rhodes. Another future WWE champion, Rey Mysterio, Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler, Alberto Del Rio, Sheamus, and Big Show. Originally, Christian was supposed to be in this Battle Royal, but unfortunately, he got hurt. He was supposed to face Big E for the Intercontinental Championship. Unfortunately, he suffered a concussion, and that was the end of his career until his brief feud with Randy Orton in 2020. And he had his final match in the company was at the 2021 Royal Rumble match until going to the greener pastures of All Elite Wrestling. Anyway, so And you got the future and funny with Woods, Biggie, and Kingston. They went on to form the New Day. That will be months later. This is the one and only time that people give a fuck about this Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. The match was good. It started out a bit boring, I thought it's going to be a glorified battle royal, but they're kind of like, when it gets into the final few men in this match, it gets a little entertaining. I think like Fandango and eliminated Biggie Langston, fans doing the fandangling. You could tell like Fandango, is he's completely cooled off, but it's a callback from the previous year, It's funny it's funny, no Chris Jericho. It's funny, Jericho's not in this WrestleMania. But he won't wrestle at WrestleMania until AJ Styles in Mania 32. Anyway, so yeah, Cesaro kind of like he thought he's eliminate Kofi. Kofi, his foot touched the steel steps, not the actual floor. One foot hit the floor, his other foot on the steel steps. It's it's really a Kofi had history. Mostly more. It's funny. He had history of battle royals. Great example at the Royal Rumble with the close eliminations. His moments of WrestleMania are so underrated. Great example, Mania 26 with the in that Money in the Bank ladder match with using two broken pieces of the ladder as stilts to grab trying to grab the briefcase. But anyway, so if he got eliminated, who got eliminated? Is it Cesaro eliminated? I'm not too sure. The two favorites of this battle royal is Sheamus or Big Show. Big Show wearing the leotards. Is paying homage to Andre the Giant. People compare Big Show to Andre the Giant. He's kind of like the modern day version of Andre the Giant. Anyway, so I think it was Cesaro again. I'm not too sure. The final two was Cesaro and the Big Show. The fans were booing Big Show out of the building. They don't want to see Big Show winning that Battle Royal. Cesaro, with one good moment, kind of body slam the Big Show. It's a callback when Hogan body slams Andre at Mania 3 to dump Big Show out of the ring. And Cesaro is the first ever winner of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. It was a good moment for Cesaro because Cesaro at this moment in time was getting momentum. At the end of this match, he kind of shake the Big Show's hand. You thought this is teasing of a Cesaro face turn. Great example at the first NXT show, or the first Takeover show. NXT Arrival. He had the match against Sami Zayn. They had that neutral respect. They're teasing that Cesaro's turning babyface. Unfortunately, they dropped the fucking ball because previously he kind of turned on Jack Swagger, broke away from the real Americans. The next night on Raw, Cesaro revealed that he's no longer a Seb Coulter guy. He's not a Seb Coulter guy. He's a Paul Heyman guy. Yeah, they dropped the ball on Cesaro big time. I thought they could turn babyface, but no, they kept him as a heel. Makes no sense. His first match as a babyface would be against Jack Swagger. Unfortunately, dropped the ball. They really dropped the ball on Cesaro, man. It's funny, Dean Ambrose, he kind of got out a little bit, until he left the company in 2021. He's doing well in AEW, but he had to stuck with Sheamus with the bar, but it's just they really dropped the ball on Cesaro, man. Vince did that interview with Stone Cold the following year. You could tell how lost in touch that Vince McMahon is. He just don't really rate Cesaro, man. And you can tell, this is the one and only time that the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal that fans can really give a fuck about it. They don't really care this Battle Royal after that. After that, it's the only one I think it's worth to watch compared to the future installments. They're just kind of crap. They end up doing more times at WrestleMania. Now, recently they're just doing it on SmackDown because if they did the one and only Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, that'll be a open and door shut case. No, but they have to continue year upon year. There is, I wish they'd just done the one time because 30th anniversary of WrestleMania, not anniversary, but the 30th WrestleMania. It's a good homage, but you have to do it and do it again, and that's why people just do not care about this Battle Royal. So anyway, let's move on to the next match, and the next match we got is all about legacy. No, I'm not talking about Rhodes, DiBiase, and Rhodes. Orton Rhodes and DiBiase. My apologies, man. Bit of a tongue twisting moment. So anyway, we got John Cena taking on Bray Wyatt with Eric Rowan and Luke Harper in the corner of Bray Wyatt. It started at the start of 2014. I think it cost John Cena a chance of winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I think it cost Cena. I think it cost Cena the championship at the Rumble. Then again at the Elimination Chamber, attacking John Cena. This, the build up to this, Bray trying to really expose Cena as a fraud. He's a liar. You don't believe of the hustle, loyalty, respect thing. He wants Cena to expose the hate. I'll get to more of that shortly. Anyway, so, and also like the Daniel Bryan Monster hype package promo, I like the John Cena Bray Wyatt hype promo package, whatever you call it. I think it's called Legacy, and it's really good, man. It's just really good, showing footage of John Cena's matches at WrestleMania. It's really good. I think it's called Legacy. I'm not too sure. So anyway, Bray came out with you got the band. I don't know what it's called. Don't get me wrong. Singing Bray's theme music. The fans were booing John Cena out of the building. Cena. This is the first Mania that Cena got super heat since Mania 23 back in 2007. Yeah. The match itself, it's hard to debate, it was a good match, but the problem is, the wrong guy gone over. And also the storyline, actually I'm going to put in the okay, but it's hard to really, rate this match, yeah, I'll put it in the okay. It was an okay match, but the problem is, it could be a better match, if the right guy gone over. But spoiler, Bray lost to Cena. And also the whole storyline, Cena exposing, he wants to be trying to release the violent side, one moment in the match, punching Bray in the face, Bray trying to egg him on to attack him, and I think he kind of egged him on to hit him with the chair, he's not, he's trying to tease him like he's going to hit Bray with the steel steps, people are not buying into this, It's a rehashed storyline, going back 2 years prior with the rise of the hate storyline with Cena and Kane, and the conclusion, of course, Cena is not turning heel. Cena is never going to turn heel because he said in an interview that he will never turn heel because if he does that, he end up becoming the heel in real life because that's bollocks Cena because you're playing a character. But anyway, I never buy into the match. I don't mind it's really hard to rate this match, I was giving it 3 stars, but I'm going to knock it down. This is an okay match, Cena's probably a disappointing match, back to back, he had a disappointing match against The Rock, twice of the Lifetime match at Mania 29, now this match against Bray. It wasn't completely terrible, it wasn't perfect, it was just a fine match, but the problem is, the wrong person gone over. And also the storyline, Cena's gonna release his anger. People are not buying into it. People just don't want to see Cena. They just every time Cena does the moves, people boo him. Trying to release the anger, they just boo. The boom, he's getting shit on. People are not buying into it. So anyway, he did a move on the top rope onto Rowan and Harper. Bray is super over, man. He kind of led the fans doing the wave, singing the whole world in his hands. I think Cena kicked out of the Sister Abigail, Bray kicked out of the AA. Cena trying to make Bray tap out with the STF. Bray reached the ropes. You had the fucking referee John Cone trying to get involved. You know, I don't like the story. I just don't like the story. And then, in the end, Bray was going for another Sister Abigail attempt. Cena, you know, counted into the AA for the second time. Beats Bray Wyatt. You know, he had his dad attend the show. Bray will get his win back the following month at Extreme Rules in the Steel Cage match. You had this segment, and also they had this segment. I thought it's on this show, but it's at Extreme Rules. You know, you had the Bray's choir wearing the sheep mask. You know, and also in that fight package, you know, Cena was in the bathroom, like splashing water in his face. He saw the I think it was Eric Rowan wearing the sheep mask. You know, but and you know, a few weeks later, yeah, the sheep choir singing. He's got the whole world in his hands. You know, it's in my opinion one of the most bizarre moments of Monday Night Raw history. And then I think and also the build up to this, I think Cena dressed up like a member of the White family wearing the sheep mask. You know, because I don't mind seeing a part of the White family. You know, but that's never going to happen. You know, like I said, they had the blow off at Payback in the Last Man Standing match. You know, I think this rivalry and this match really, Bray took a massive hit in his career. It took him all the momentum Bray has going into this match and this rivalry with Cena is all gone. Finito. Next time he gained momentum back when he was doing the whole Firehouse Funhouse bit and the Fiend. You know, they had the rematch at WrestleMania 6 years later. You know, at Mania 36 92 in the Firehouse Fun Night match. That turned out to be that. I preferred that Firehouse Fun Night match. I'm trying to get my words out. Firehouse Fun House match. I'm trying to get my words out. Trying to repeat. God, why do I repeat myself? 6 years later at Mania 36. That was way better than that match at WrestleMania 30. You know, it was an okay match, but I hate the story and the wrong guy gone over. It's really sad that just Bray is no longer with us. You know, he just passed away last year. You know, if he just beat Cena on this show, what might have been? I think his momentum will be sky high. This is the moments that Cena should have put over. That 2000s or 2010s, in my opinion, you know, in that 2013 up to 2015 mark, you know, Cena was burying guys. Like, great example, Ryback, Bray Wyatt, Rusev. You know, it's just funny right now. Yeah, he put over Austin Theory, you know, at Mania 39, but and Solo Sikoa, and you know, but in that time period, you know, this is still the hype of the Super Cena thing, you know. I don't want to get into more details of it, that's my 2 cents on it, so... But, it's just a downfall of Bray Wyatt's career until 5 years later, when he's the Firehouse Funhouse Bray and the Fiend, you know, and getting his win back over Cena in that Firehouse Funhouse match at Mania 36. So I'm trying to get my words out. Anyway, so moving on to the next match. So the next match, this is for the streak. The Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman in his corner. So the fight the third hype package was fine. I like it. I think it's on point with the hype packages. You know, with the Bryan Triple H hype packages, Cena and Bray. Now there's Brock's t-shirts like Eat, Sleep, Conquer, Repeat, you know. That was at the time, and then 1 year later he ended up doing the Suplex City thing. That really was a good t-shirt at the time. Anyway, so Undertaker had like a good entrance with the caskets, you know, of his victims. You know, we had CM Punk's name on it, you know. Like, it's funny, like, still mention Punk this is months after he walked out of the company. This match is the worst match of the night, man. You know, Taker came out I don't mind Taker with the Ministry of Darkness beard. This is the first time he came out wearing the trench coat and the cowboy hat since I think it was Mania 27. Mania's 28 to 29, he ended up wearing the Druid hoodie or the cloak. But trying to combine Deadman Undertaker to Ministry Darkness Undertaker. He came out with tan. He's completely tanned. This match sucked. Worst match of the night. You know, here's the one thing: Undertaker got concussed. You know, like the first few seconds of the match, Brock hit Taker with a stiff-looking German suplex, and he dropped Undertaker on his head. I thought, is it the spot that Undertaker got concussed? But no. You know, at moments of the match, you had Taker working on the shoulder of Brock Lesnar, and then Lesnar working on the leg of the Undertaker. He grabbed Taker's leg and kind of slammed him onto the floor. Yeah, and that was the spot that Undertaker got concussed. Taker, I give him props. You know, he was trying to gun it out. You know, but unfortunately, he was sluggy. He was lifeless. You know, he hit a crappy looking last ride onto Lesnar. You know, he hit the choke slam. Lesnar kicked out of the choke slam and the tombstone power driver. Lesnar, you know, you had Taker. I think he's the first guy, or you know, he kind of countered Lesnar's Kimura lock. You know, he kind of performed his own Kimura lock. You know, because Undertaker, he's a big fan of MMA. You know. Yeah, I think it was a couple of years back. You know, he attended the UFC show with Lesnar was fighting. Seeing Lesnar and Taker kind of had eye to eye. Anyway, so you know, like I said, Taker, you know, Lesnar kicked out Undertaker's choke slam and tombstone power driver. I think it was the only time that it's the only tombstone power driver Undertaker hit. You know, he was so fucking lightless. You know, it's so rough. You know, and also the fans were like completely dead. The fans died. I think they were dead because of Bray, you know, Cena going over Bray. It really drained the momentum of the fans. Anyway, so Lesnar hit Taker not one, not two, but 3 tombstone power drivers to beat the Undertaker and become the first guy to beat Undertaker at WrestleMania. Yeah, Brock Lesnar became 1 in 21. The streak ends, and that was the shocking moment. That was actually seeing the reaction of Paul Heyman's face, and also a good meme. It's still people talk about to this day. Is this black guy wearing "Just Say Yes"? I think it's a Daniel Bryan T-shirt. That is immortalized, you know. And then yeah, the Undertaker doing that laughing, you know, that laugh. That was like his match against Lesnar at SummerSlam 2015. But seeing that guy, that black guy with that facial reaction, it was a shocking moment. You know, it was a shock. You know, it was a funeral. You know, yeah, and yeah, you know, and then after that, you know, the ring announcer Justin Roberts announced Brock Lesnar is the winner. The music hits, and that was it. Like seeing Lesnar's reaction, he smiled because he beat the streak. You know, it was a big deal. You know, people talk about WrestleMania 30, you know, at the time, and the streak, that was the most talking point, you know, of it. So, and afterwards, you know, the fans giving the fan appreciation towards the Undertaker, and I thought this was his swan song, but it wasn't. You know, he stayed around. He wrestled against Bray Wyatt at Mania 31, Shane at 32. He thought he's going to retire at Mania 33 against Reigns, but he came back. You know, he wrestled a few more times at WrestleMania until his final match as a wrestler against AJ Styles in the Boneyard match at Mania 36. You know, but man, people talk about this debate to this day: is Lesnar the right man to win? Like, I think at the time Lesnar was not really doing anything. He was simply not doing anything lately, you know. Yeah, he came back to the company. He lost to Cena. He beat Triple H. Lost to Triple H. Beat Triple H. Beat Punk. Beat The Big Show. Now beat The Undertaker, you know. He was not really doing anything. And then later on, he went on to be in the WWE Universal title pictures in the next few years, you know. You know, I think if you do it, you know, people say you need to put it into, you should have a young guy to beat the Undertaker to break the streak. You know, I think it's a massive gamble. You know, if you put in someone, you know, I say in my review of Mania 29 review 1 year ago, you know, I think this was anticlimactic. It was anticlimactic seeing Undertaker concuss. You know, it's night and day if I compared this to the match on Raw back in 2001, the tag team match. The two-man power trip taking on Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho. When it's the night when Triple H torn his quad. Sometimes you had wrestlers, got hurt mid-match and gun it out and added to his legend, to put on a good match. But this was rough. Like I said, the fans were quiet because, like I said, Cena got over Bray, and it's rough, it's hard to watch, man. It was boring, 25 minutes long, and yeah, like I said, like if you put it on a young guy, and it's very risky. If you put it in if you have the young guy beat the Undertaker at WrestleMania, and do nothing after that, that would be all for nothing. A great example. Yeah, I say if Punk beat Undertaker at Mania 29, that would be a good moment. It'll be the talk of the town, a moment that you talk about for weeks. But and then I had another think. Let me see if Punk did break the streak at Mania 29, and then left the company before the show. It'd be all for nothing. I think Lesnar is he's a believable I think he's a believable guy to beat the Undertaker. Yeah, he is 36. He's still got he's there for the long term. Even though he's a part timer, he's in this reduced capacity. But if you put in the young guy, and it's not panning out, and it's not really, you got to have someone with the safe bet. I think Lesnar is the right guy. But yeah, their match was so rough to watch. They had better matches the following year at SummerSlam and Hell in a Cell, but yeah, it's still debatable to this day. But I give my opinions on it. Young guy beat the streak and then do nothing. That would be a rough move. But with Lesnar, he's there for the long run. I think it was the right call, but it was a shocking moment. People talk about this 10 years later, and it's just like, wow. So before I get to the final two matches of the show, I'm going to talk about the Hall of Fame bit. I don't talk about Hall of Fame when I review classic WrestleManias, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So you got Scott Hall in the Hall of Fame because it's been 20 years since the ladder match between Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels. Lita is going inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Paul Bearer, you had the Sons represent Paul Bearer because Paul Bearer passed away the previous year. Should have been inducted years ago. And you got Jake the Snake Roberts, and also got the Ultimate Warrior. Holy fuck, people like back then, talking about this show. They were not they talking about Daniel Bryan. They talking about the streak coming to an end. Because it was a bad way to end the streak. It's it's in the top 3 worst matches of the streak of The Undertaker. And also people will talk about the Ultimate Warrior. He got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. He did a speech on the first Raw after Mania, and then a day or two later he passed away. What's that holy shit moment? It got me thinking. Is it the Warrior's time coming up? It's just sad, I think it was a perfect time for Warrior to patch things up with Vince, patch things up with the company, and get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, and get treated by the legendary Warrior, and then, it's just sad seeing, Warrior's kids were so young at the time, and, growing up without the dad, that was just so heartbreaking, It got me thinking, if Warrior did not patch things up the company, because the company buried the Warrior a couple of years back, with the whole self-destruct of the Ultimate Warrior DVD. It got me thinking, if Warrior, didn't patch things up before he died, that would be they could almost have that self-destruct of the Warrior vibes, if he didn't patch things up and got inducted into the Hall of Fame before he dies. It's just and trying to induct him after his death. That'd be a bad move. But because a lot of fans really grew up with the Ultimate Warrior, because the Warrior, to me personally, he's got that Bruce Lee and Heath Ledger vibes, because like with Bruce Lee, great example, he got more popular after his death. Great example with Heath Ledger, he's more popular. Heath Ledger's Joker is more popular after his death. With Warrior, I think he's more popular after his death because he's the biggest, he's played the massive success of WrestleMania. He's the biggest star of the company. I can't put him in the Mount Rushmore, but yeah, it was the biggest shock, of 2014 in wrestling. CM Punk's walking out of the company, Undertaker's streak came to an end, and also the death of the Warrior. It's just like, wow, 2014 was crazy shit in WWE. So anyway, let's move on to the next match. So the next match, we got the Vicky Guerrero Invitational match. It's basically a fatal 14 match for the Divas Championship. It's the one and only time that the Divas title defended at a WrestleMania. AJ Lee defending the belt against Oksana, Alicia Fox, the Bellas, Cameron, that is Ariane, Emma, that is Tenille Dashwood, Eva Marie, Layla, Naomi, Natalia, Rosa Mendes, Summer Rae, and Tamina Snuka. Sucked. This match was a clusterfuck. Like I said, the fans were tired. They're dead. Because for one, Cena went over against Bray, and two, that horrifying match between Undertaker and Lesnar. But this was, I'm trying to keep it short and simple. Everyone had their moment. It was a glorified spot fest, In the end, AJ locked in the Black Widow onto Naomi to retain the Divas title. And also, most of these women in this match was not really a believable women to knock AJ Lee off her perch, right? Because, maybe Naomi, but besides that, there was nobody. And this is the only, like I said, this is the only time that the Divas title was defended at a WrestleMania. And this was the last time that AJ Lee defended her title, because the next night on Raw, she dropped the belt to Paige, who debuted within the company. She became the youngest Divas champion at the age of 21. I think her record still stands to this day as the youngest women's wrestler to win the championship. Or I thought Roxanne Perez broke that. I think Roxanne Perez broke that. I'm not 100% sure. But and it set up, 5 years later they end up doing Fighting With My Family, stars Florence Pugh. I reviewed that film a couple years back. Go and check it out. And, let's move on to the main event. So the main event, we got a triple threat match. Randy Orton, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, defending the belt against Batista and Daniel Bryan. This is Batista's first WrestleMania for 4 years, because his last match was against at WrestleMania was against John Cena. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, Punk walking out of the company. Batista came back I think it was the start of 2014, went on to win that year's Royal Rumble match. And it got me thinking, what if they didn't listen to the fans? People want to see Daniel Bryan getting his moment in the sun, but continue to do normal business. Just people, because the original plan, it was supposed to be, like I said, Triple H, CM Punk, Sheamus, Daniel Bryan, and Orton versus Batista. What if they didn't listen? I think people will talk about this WrestleMania in a very negative light, because Batista said in an interview that I think he's when he promote Spectre, the James Bond film, they promised Batista to have a main event match, winning the world title at Mania, and they never give him to him. And also he said he wants to come back as a heel. He said he plays the heel pretty damn well, but I think they really screwed Batista out there, I don't want to get in details of it. It's hard to explain. But it was really they really did Batista in. He was a babyface, and also after the Rumble, he got booed. Batista. He came out with the black, with the black background. It's a really cool back of his previous heel turn or heel run. In 2009, 2010. Orton came out with the live theme music like Bray. it had this noise, it's the same noise of his previous theme music, "Burn Out in My Light," But yeah, this match was really good. Um, so this was really good. I thought this was like this match with the story with Triple H or in Batista is hinting of the reunion of Evolution. That's another story for another time. Anyway, so this match was really good. Like, I thought this was going to be a handicap match in the portion of the match, but it wasn't. It was between Orton and Batista. They really, and also forgot to mention this, they really booked Orton's like heel run like shit. Like, he turned heel the previous year at SummerSlam, and they booked him like a chicken shit heel. But I don't want to get into that, in more details of it. So anyway, so Batista hit like Bryan hit like a double missile drop kicks onto both Bryan, Batista, and Orton. Like, they did this. Triple H came in out. Wearing the WWE jacket. You had Scott Armstrong, the Authority crooked referee. And then like Bryan kicked out of the Batista bomb attempt by Daniel Bryan. Bryan kicked out of Scott Armstrong. Armstrong is he was related to Road Dogg Jesse James. Anyway, so he did the suicide dive. Stephanie caught in the crossfire. And before that, trying to hit Bryan with the sledgehammer, but instead Bryan hit Triple H with the sledgehammer. Did the suicide dive. Stephanie got caught in the crossfire, selling the ankle. There were a lot of na, hey, goodbye towards Triple H and Stephanie. Trying to stack the odds against Bryan to not win the championship. So, yeah, they go like the opener. They kind of work on, you had Orton working on the injured arm of Daniel Bryan. Batista and Orton hit like a Batista bomb and the inverted RKO combo onto the announce table. And Orton took a nasty bump onto the TV monitors. He injured his back, But besides that, it's too much to talk about. I don't talk about move by move, I think like Bryan hit like a running knee onto Orton. Batista throw Bryan out of the ring. Near fall. Another near fall. Orton hit the RKO. A normal RKO onto Batista. Near fall, I think he tried to lock in the yes lock onto Orton. I think he reached the ropes or Batista broke the hold. Bryan did like the yes kicks. I think it was on Batista or Orton. I can't remember. And then in the end, I'm trying to keep it short and simple. In the end, he hit the Bryan hit the running knees and applied the yes lock onto Batista and tap out. I think his tap out was way better when he tap out to Cena at Mania 26. That was a weak tap out, but Bryan won this match and become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Complete the story, no pun into Cody Rhodes, but it was a good moment. You had the confetti coming out. I think at the Connor the Crusher was a young fan who sadly passed away. I think it was later on in the year, attended the show. Yeah, this young fan, celebrate with Daniel Bryan, it was a good way, I think they misunderstood Daniel Bryan, he's just like proving like you don't have to be big or have that flashy personality and charisma. He doesn't have the personality and charisma of a Rock, a Hogan, an Austin, I think the one wrestler I compare Daniel Bryan to is Bret Hart. They're not known for their personality. I think this was the first triple threat World Heavyweight title match since Mania 20, 10 years prior. I forgot to mention. Actually, I'm lying. It was WrestleMania 24. John Cena, Orton, and Triple H. But this is Bryan's first and only. I think it's the first WrestleMania main event until Mania 37. I think it was night 2 in that triple threat match between him, Edge, and Roman Reigns. But this was really good. Did the yes chants. The guy, because Bryan got that connection of the fans. He's got the heart and soul of the fans. And I think they did the right call of giving him that moment. His year. He's like done everything he could. He started out in the mid card, winning the United States title. Then he was the secondary world champion on SmackDown with the big gold belt. He was in the tag team with Kane, and now he's the world champion. He's the main man. And they capitalize on that. So, it's really damn shame that Bryan got hurt. He got hurt in the very wrong time, because his first match as the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the next month at Extreme Rules, he was in this feud with Kane. Kane hit like 3 tombstone power drivers when he came back as the Monster. I think the first person who should have challenged Bryan for the belt was Batista. Unfortunately, did the whole stuff with the Reform Evolution with him, Orton, Triple H, minus Ric Flair against the Shield. But Bryan. I wish Bryan have a good run as the World Heavyweight Champion or WWE World Heavyweight Champion. But like I say, he got hurt, injured his neck, he forfeited the title, and then he came back months later. In 2015, the start of 2015, lost the Rumble, had another WrestleMania moment, winning the Intercontinental Championship, got hurt again with Wade Barrett's stiff bull hammer elbow shot. And then he had a retirement for 2 years, had to run a SmackDown GM. He came back 4 years later, teaming up with Shane McMahon against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And then he won't win the world title again for 4 years later against AJ Styles. Because at this moment in time, I think the Yes Man has run its course. He was kind of like yesterday's news. People talking about AJ Styles, it's just really a shame. And it got me thinking, it's really funny right now. Bryan went on to have so far he's had a good run in AEW, despite he haven't won a championship yet. But you got me thinking, what if Bryan never got hurt? What if he stayed healthy? I think he could stay in the company. How like Dean Ambrose, if he stayed at the company, gunning this the crap through the tunnel into the light side of the other side of the tunnel until Fitzman's no longer with the company. How is he going to fit in today's WWE product? It's just what it is, man. But that was the talk of the town. I think it's got the best moment until. My overall rating of WrestleMania 30, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's back and forth, giving it a solid 8 out of 10 or 9.5 out of 10. But this was a really good WrestleMania. I call it the Daniel Bryan WrestleMania because he opens WrestleMania 30 and closed out WrestleMania 30 as the World Champion. The Andre the Giant Battle Royal was fun to watch, including the triple threat match and also Daniel Bryan versus Triple H. Not a lot of bad on the show. I'm leaving out the Shield versus Kane and the Outlaws. It was just a squash match. The Divas match was, the Divas Tower match was a clusterfuck, but it's trying to get every diva on the show. But the worst match of the night was Undertaker versus Lesnar. It was a bad way how the streak ends, I forgot to mention this, famously the Undertaker went to the hospital after his match and Finn's left WrestleMania to go to see the Undertaker. It got me thinking, if Undertaker never had that injury, how that match will pan out. It's hard to explain. Cena versus Wyatt was an okay match. I liked their match 6 years later. That was a bit fun. But their match at Mania 30 was okay, but I don't like the storyline. But like I said, the wrong guy went over. Because Bray's career was never the same ever again. But yeah, a really good WrestleMania. Not like on the same pedestal as Mania 17, but it's in that. It's hard to really rate this WrestleMania. I think it's the best WrestleMania of the 2010s, but it's hard. I put it in the top 10, but it's a very debatable topic. So, what is your thoughts on WrestleMania 30? Do you like the show? Do you hate the show? Or are you in between of hate or love the show? Please Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like button, click the bell, subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube, be part of the Central Unit for more wrestling videos and more. Next time, WrestleMania is over. It's been over weeks ago. We're about 1 week away for Backlash 2024 in France. So I'm going to review some classic Backlash shows. I'm going to do my remix of my review of Backlash 2004. This show, I was supposed to review it last year, but I kind of stopped doing it because, for one, I was recovering from getting my wisdom tooth removed, so I'm unable to review that show. It was the first Backlash show for 7 years, the first brand exclusive pay-per-view of the second/current brand split. AJ Styles winning his first WWE Championship, and also on that show, crowning the first ever SmackDown Women's and Tag Team Champions. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm going to review Backlash 2016. Until then, this is the Central Man officially signing out. Check you later, folks. And that's my review of WrestleMania 30. I give it 2 thumbs up. Or, just kidding, a thumbs up.